You see, even with this different exposure back in 1982, 61% of college grads thought that sodomy should be legal, as opposed to 22% of those with just grade school educations. That's the largest split among all the cohorts in the Gallup polling. Now, you compare this with some other issues. Adultery and polygamy are still in single digits in most polls. And adultery is bad because it's bad. Polygamy is not something you think of your next door neighbor doing. It's people in cults in weird places in Utah is the face of the polygamy movement. I've always thought that if 3 or 4 Hollywood couples came out as pro-polygamy, you would probably see that number jump up to 30% pretty quickly, because the face of it changes, the way we think of it changes, and as the argument were to become about family and so forth, the thinking of it changes. Pornography, this shocked me, but attitudes towards pornography have not changed over the past 12 years. 30% thought it was moral in 2001, 31% thought it was moral in 2013. The reason it shocked me is the internet. But it's still not something that's really discussed in polite conversation. I think when you get up to an age where people are married, the adultery factor plays in there, but it's just not been mainstreamed yet. Prostitution is still something that you go to the bad part of town to engage in. And abortion is something that just, it's not something you see a lot of celebrities admitting to. It's not something that's celebrated. Most Americans still see it as something of a necessary evil. There is a majority support for abortion, but if you ask about the morality of abortion, those numbers are flipped. So again, to me, this really isn't about a liberal or libertarian cultural shift. It's the way that these things are argued about in society. Even marijuana, you think about the depiction of it in Back to the Future. The 1985 movie, it's the black musicians who are getting out of the car and smoking marijuana. Today, the depiction, the most common pop culture depiction of it is weeds. It's all about the plucky housewife who sells to the suburban jungle. And so, I think if there is an interest in pushing other issues forward, the real lesson is that it has to be framed in terms of law enforcement, in terms of family, in terms of money, things that appeal to the great American middle class.